Hello and welcome to the Lift Your Spirits Mystery Crochet Along kickoff live stream. I am so excited today, you guys, because I have Nancy of Schmutzerella Yarns here with me. She dyes the yarn that I recommended for this pattern. So we're going to do an interview with her all about her and her yarn, a little bit about this pattern, and we're going to be doing a giveaway. So I'm going to be giving away either a hank or a mini skein set of her yarns, as well as some other little goodies. So if you're watching the replay, you're definitely going to want to stick around to figure out how to enter the giveaway. So without further ado, let's bring Nancy in the live stream.
Hello.
Awesome. And you know what? I just realized I don't have our names on here just in case. Do I? Let me see if I can bring that up. Show display names. I don't usually keep it up for me because most people know that I'm Mandobug. Perfect. And it looks like we've got some people joining us this morning. Good morning, Brandy. So excited. Me and Letty are watching. Oh, Letty. Very nice. And we have Jessica. Hello, Jessica. And Books with B. Hello, love the ghost and pumpkin emoji. And Kim of Unapologetically Mocha Crochet and Crafts. Hey, Kim. I want to know how your DK weight is going. How is that going? Because it should be a fun sub. And Lacey. Hey, friend. How are you this morning? So I am so excited. I hope you guys have casted on or chained on, started your projects. I know I have. I know Nancy has. So before we get into all the crochet along stuff, though, I did want to introduce Nancy and get to know her a little bit. So Nancy, I've got a little rough outline here. Where are you from and where do you live? Be as general as you want here.
I am, I'm getting a little bit of feedback. I am from the greater Seattle area, born and raised. I'm in Snohomish, Washington, which is about 20 miles north of Seattle. And I'm a Pacific Northwesterner through and through.
Which is exactly how we met, right? I was born and raised here. I moved to Georgia when I was in the military. And then I came back and then I got to meet Nancy through my local yarn store. So tell me about the kinds of crafts that you do, because I know that you're not just a yarn dyer. What else do you do?
You name it, I've probably crafted it. I'm really big into knitting, crochet, spinning. Those are kind of go hand in hand with the yarn dyeing thing, right? But I'm also into cross stitch. I'm into diamond painting. I've been working on those little wooden puzzle model things. Anything to get me through the pandemic, right? All of the little crafty things.
Absolutely. I think that resonates with everybody in here. Did you have like a gateway craft? Was there one that like introduced you to the world of crafts and you're like, I'm in it?
When I was really little, my grandma was a knitter and crocheter and all of the crafting. And I remember she had this yarn room full of tubs of, frankly, all of the red heart you could possibly imagine. And so she let me play with it. So my gateway craft was little plastic canvas food for my Barbies. And then I got into cross stitch and then it just went downhill, uphill from there.
Right. I love that. So do you have some interest outside of crafting that you'd like to share with us too, to give us the full picture of Nancy?
There's a world outside of crafting.
Yep,
this is news to me. I also, probably my biggest interest is board games, which is a thing I've really been missing lately. But I'm looking forward to get back to it. A lot of tabletop board games, Magic the Gathering, that kind of thing. Hardcore nerd over here.
Right. And I know you can do some of that online, but it's not the same as in person holding a deck or moving your pieces. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk Schmutzerella Yarns. When and how did you get started dyeing yarn?
It was back in 2010. So I've been doing this for a while now. And I was participating in a swap on Ravelry. And the theme for the swap was try something new. And I was like, I'm curious about dyeing yarn. And my swap partner sent me a box full of bare yarn from Knit Picks and food dye and Kool-Aid and some acid dyes and was just like, try it. And the first skein I dyed was with black cherry and regular cherry and grape Kool-Aid. And
I bet that smelled amazing.
Oh my God, it super did. And the hat that I made for my friend, she actually used to store in a Ziploc baggie with packets of Kool-Aid so it wouldn't lose its smell. And yeah, the rest was kind of history. I fell head over heels and didn't really look back.
Nice. I think that's pretty common, right? For everyone to start dipping their toes with Kool-Aid because it is so kitchen safe that you can just, and the smell is great. I'm going to catch us up in the comments real quick because I don't want to get too far behind. Hello, Katie. Thanks for joining the live in M520. Hey, Jessica says, woohoo, I'm in Washington too. Awesome. Although on the other side of the state. Oh boy. Yeah, that's a whole trip to get over there. It's almost like another state over the mountains. Becoming me. Hello. Welcome. And Kim, this must be the DK weight, right? It's going well. I'm paused on row 14 and it's roughly 11.5 inches wide and 10 inches long. That is great news if you wanted to make the small size larger for a more in-between size. My beads won't be here until late next week. That's why I'm paused too. So I'm trying to decide to use regular beads or wait. I say hold out because we do have 6 weeks for the crochet along and the small size is mostly given out in the first clue here. So don't rush. Don't worry about it. I say wait and that way you can choose exactly what you want and you can kind of test from there. Lacey says, I want to learn to play magic. My son is interested in it. He's also lazy though because he's a teenager. So do you have any advice on getting started, Nancy?
I recommend trying, as much as I prefer paper magic in person, I recommend trying Magic Arena, which is downloadable. You play it on the computer, you play it online, but it has some really great tutorials for getting used to the cards, getting used to the play style. And until you find other people to play with, it's a great place to start.
Nice. That's probably how I would start too, just because the cards seem overwhelming. There's so many.
Yeah.
And if you play against a computer, it can't laugh at you when you try to do things that are wrong, and it will also not let you do them.
Yes.
Kim says, and I went with the 5mm hook. The drape is wonderful. Perfect. So DK weight, 5mm. It really does depend on your DK, right? Some are plump, some are thin. So it's hard to tell for sure, but I feel like that's a good starting point recommendation. Thank you, Kim, for kind of pioneering testing out that DK weight. And we're D&Ders here, LOL, and Axis and Allies. I haven't played that one. Have you? I played D&D, Pathfinder, actually.
Nice. I actually haven't done either. I never was able to get into D&D, and Axis and Allies is one of those things that somebody would always bring to game group, but none of us were ever committed enough to like sit down and play through.
Yeah, it's helpful if you have somebody who already like thoroughly knows the rules and can walk you through it. Because we had a great DM, GM, whatever you want to call him, and he was very patient with people like me who are excited. They love I already forgot the term, but like the fluffy part of everything. The witch character, and I'm like, I want to grow my nails out and like throw them like talons. And he's like, okay, hold on, like that's fun, but I got to make sure this works in the fine print. I'm like, I don't care about the fine print. I care about the visual in my mind.
Yes.
This is what I'm here for. And then Lacey, oh, thank you. That's a great insider tip. I will tell him to download that. Yay. All right, so back to Schmutzerella Yarns. Do you remember the first yarn you ever sold or your first customer?
Yes. I actually have 2. The first one was before I officially became a business, which was still playing around with the food dyes and that kind of thing. And it's perfect for the season. My very, very first skein that I dyed and sold to a friend of mine named Lisa was pumpkin spice latte. It was orange and brown and cream, and she made it into a pair of socks. So that was cool. The skein of yarn that started my business, though, which was the first real skein, was a colorway called Ice Ice Baby.
I know that one.
Yes, out of a lace weight, and the thing that got me started on it was there was this mystery knit along coming up that I really wanted to participate in, and a friend of mine wanted to participate in, and it called for like 1,200 yards of lace weight, and I couldn't find that in a single skein anywhere. And finally it was like, you know what, I can do this. And so that first order was lace weight, a basic worsted weight, a basic sock weight, and we just went full speed ahead.
That is awesome. Do you remember what the mystery knit along was?
It was In Dreams by Susan Pandorf. I got through the first clue. It was heavily beaded, lace on both sides. It was my first lace project ever. I still have it somewhere. I never got close to finishing it. Now, whenever I do find it, I'm going to frog it because I still have dreams about knitting it. But this time around, I want to knit it in my Morphing Minis. And like, I am obsessed with this idea, but you know, time and energy, and one day we'll get there. It's the white whale, right?
Yeah, heavily beaded, lace on both sides. For those of you that just crochet, knitting typically can have resting rows on the wrong side when knitting flat in lace. So you have a pattern on one side and you can just purl your way back, or purl your way back. And those, I do have a shawl that's lace on both sides that's still a whip for that reason, because it's beaded but not heavily beaded. Beading slows you down, and then really having to pay attention on both sides makes me feel a little bit better about this crochet along, because this is one that requires patterning on every row, counting on every row. Following the charts makes it a little easier because you can see where everything's going, so you can be like, oh, I just double crochet until that next chain 2 space, versus having to count them. But it makes me feel a little better. Let's see. Where am I at? My questions. How do you come up with your colorways?
All of my colors are inspired by movies, TV, music, board games, books, all of that. And usually it's a quote. There's a quote somewhere that inspires me, and I usually see the color, or, you know, somebody says something and I'm like, yes, that would be amazing. How would I do that? It's really fun.
Has it always been that way, or is that something you developed over time?
Yeah, the obviously pumpkin spice latte, not so much. Although that still is a specific thing that I'm gearing towards. Ice Ice Baby, of course, song quote. When I first started dyeing, I was friends with a couple of other indie dyers, and we would give each other challenges. We would all watch a movie together and then give each other themes or quotes or something like that to dye. So that happened in my first year, and that really developed that love for it. I had so much more fun dyeing quotes than I did a specific object. It feels like when people hear of a specific thing, like a pumpkin spice latte, you instantly get an image in your head of what that should be. That may or may not be the same image that I have, but I've found with quotes, it's a lot easier for me to feel like I can capture the spirit of whatever it is. And other people are like, yeah, I see that too. You're not kind of going heads to head of, well, my pumpkin spice latte has a lot more orange in it. You know?
Yeah, I know that I got your Beetlejuice inspired colorway, and I know exactly what you're talking about. I was like, yes, this is it.
You have a specific image in your head if it's Beetlejuice, but freelance bioexorcist, I could go any way with that.
Oh, absolutely. So how let me show, I want you to show off some of your colorways. Do you have some of your favorite colorways with you, and maybe some of your newer colorways?
Okay, let's start with a new old colorway. I recently brought this out of the Schmutzerella vault, and this you might recognize.
I do.
As your corner to corner linen stitch cowl.
Yep, the C2C linen cowl.
Here, where am I? Here we go. This is Futterwacken, and it's actually deep from the Schmutzerella vault, but I recently brought it back. And this is on my Epic base, which is my worsted weight. And it's just sort of, I'm so blown out. Here we go.
No, it's showing up pretty good on my screen because I
Okay.
have seen photos that you took in advance of this. So, I
And
love
this
the
is
pops of orange in there.
Pops of orange, pops of hot pink. And then this is what I'm wearing in the little thumbnail. So you can see
That's
it
right.
there.
The thumbnail for this video. I forgot about that. Jessica said it's so pretty.
Thank you, Jessica. And this is a good one to show off a bunch of colors that I really like.
Ooh.
This is upside down. Here we go. This is my, can I get far enough away? No.
Here, let me bring you into full screen too so everyone can get a good look.
There we go.
If I can take myself off.
This is my jig shawl puzzle by Stephen West. And I was inspired by, oh, it's all good. It was inspired by Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas, which Jessica totally got. And it features some of my tonals. Tonals are my favorite thing that I dye. And it features Pygmy Puff, which is this pinky purple color. Galleon, the gold. Nox, the black. And of course, because it is for Sally, we have Frog's Breath, a nice sea foamy greeny color. This is also in my worsted weight, and it is so squishy and lovely.
It looks so squishy and yummy, and it's so funny because immediately Jessica said, "Oh my gosh, reminds me of Sally." You did a perfect job combining your colorways with that pattern to portray it because it does. It screams Sally without, you don't even have like the stitching on it.
Nope.
That would even say it more. You don't have to because the colorways, they just embody it so well with that pattern.
I love that so
Lacey
much.
says, OMG, that is all jam, that patchwork. Amanda, you know I'm over here drooling over that Stephen West shawl. Yeah. Lacey, you don't knit at all, if I remember correctly, right? You're just a crocheter. So it's the hardcore drooling. And that is amazing. Knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I would think something like this you could easily do in crochet like you're doing with your Sally sweater.
Yep.
And just make some patches and sew them together. Like, why not, right?
Right. And that's the fun thing about crochet is it's a little more free form. So you could, if you couldn't find a pattern that you wanted, you just kind of start going and sewing and have that collection of colorways, because that's what really brings yours together is the pre-thought collection of colorways that scream Sally before it's even put together.
Yes.
And yeah, I was right. Oh, Lacey only crochets and I have plans. All in good time, right? It took me 3 years on and off of quitting to like trying and quitting to learn to knit before I actually grabbed it and started running. And then I swear I didn't touch crochet for those for a while. Awesome. So tell me about your morphing, unless you have more colorways. Do you have more colorways that you want to show off?
I have a couple more colorways.
Let's do it.
Let's see. I already showed you Frog's Breath. But
yes.
There it is.
Which that was recently featured, correct?
Yes, it was featured in, I think, the most recent edition of Knitty in a crocheted shawl. I do not remember the name of the shawl right now, but it was by Jessica Boloff.
Yeah, and Knitty, if you're unfamiliar, they have their patterns available for free on their website, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
each issue is free. So that is a free crochet pattern using that Frog's Breath, and it is gorgeous. It's a nice, what would you call it, like a small to medium size shawl?
Yeah, it's one of those that's really easily customizable to whatever size you want, though. It takes 2 skeins of a fingering weight. You could easily do a shawlette version in one.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Okay, the other, let's see, spanning the nerddom, we also have Time and Relative Dimension in Space, which is my TARDIS colorway in blue. And of course, oh, this is not coming through at all well on my camera. It is a deep ruby red for Sorcerer's Stone.
Oh, yeah. It's showing a little orange on my side, which is not as accurate. Yeah. Sorcerer's Stone, I think, I hate to say it, but I think it is my favorite colorway of yours.
I always come up with other colors that are my favorite. Like, I really love a lot of them, but I keep going back to Sorcerer's Stone. One of these days I'm going to make a sweater coat out of it, and it's going to be glorious. And then the last full skein thing that I want to feature that I'm also known for are my Time Warp colorways, which I have a set of variegated. It's a jump to the left, and I'm not going to sit here and sing the whole song, but it goes through a rainbow of the chorus in the variegated. And then it also has a matching semi-solid that it's astounding, which it goes through the first verse of the song. And these I have available in full size skeins and minis as well. So that gives you the Time Warp colors.
So yes, let's talk about the minis, because that is something that I feel like really sets your company apart from several other indie dyers. The fact that you've been dyeing for so long, I mean, 11 years now, and then also these morphing minis. You guys, I made a second sample of my Hollow Web shawl using one of her morphing mini packs. I should have brought it out here. I'm kicking myself. Using the Demise of Mrs. Plum with a skein of Nox as my solid, and I love it so much. So yes, share those minis.
Okay. So for Morphing Minis, they are gradient packs, which this one is, let's back it up. All of my Morphing Minis are inspired by the game Clue, and they start with Miss Scarlet, Colonel Mustard, Mr. Green, Professor Plum, Mrs. Peacock, and Mrs. White. And I just did that out of order, and that will bother me forever, but here we are. It's live. And so they all run from one character to another. So this is the Mystery of the Green Peacock. So we go from green to peacock. And the thing that's cool about that is that's like a lot of other gradient packs, right? But I also have the Ghost of Mrs. Peacock, which goes from full saturation to pale turquoise. And you can connect them to each other. So you can extend your gradient as far as you would like to go. And if that's not enough yardage for you, right, like 2 packs isn't enough, which each pack is 552 yards. So it's just over a skein of yarn. So you can really go with it.
And I think you may have already mentioned it, but these are all fingering weight.
They're
right?
fingering weight. Yes. Then we also have Mr. Green over here. So you can do a full, there we go. As much as you want to, you can just kind of keep going. And if you don't want to go color to color, like you were saying, you had the Demise of Professor Plum. This is Mr. Green's Demise. So it goes from green to black. So you could go pale green to full green to black. And then from there, you could actually go to Professor Plum's Demise to Plum. And I didn't bring all of those out because I would definitely be off camera then. But you can kind of keep cycling through it and as much as you want to do, which is actually what I'm doing for the crochet along. I am using my Mrs. White mini packs. So my first, let's see, my first color is just Birthday Suit, which is my natural white, which then will fade into the Ghost of Mrs. White. There we go. Which will fade into Mrs. White's Demise. Which will fade into...
Is it that many yards? Oh, man.
It is that many yards. It is that many yards. Which will fade into Nox, which is my black.
This is going to be so gorgeous. I cannot
so
wait to see your full
it.
gradient.
Yeah, right now, I really want to get to the minis so bad, but I still have all of this to get through. But yeah, I'm doing the large size shawl and it calls for 5 skeins of yarn. So like, we're rolling with it, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I did it and I wrote it and then, but like looking at it visually that way, because you and I know the story of how this came to be. So I will share that in a little bit, but I did not, it's just a whole new experience seeing it like that. And I think the first clue will get you through most of that first ball.
I think so.
Maybe into the second clue too. So let's catch up on chat because I do see Time Warp back here. Time Warp is an earworm. Love the yarn. And Lacey said, "Oh, I am in love with the Time Warp. I have, I spun your Time Warp because you did briefly have some hands roving that you dyed with comb top that you dyed in the Time Warp colorways, and I spun it up and I loved it so much. And I do have Madness Takes Its Toll, which is the red semi-solid on a DK, I think.
Yeah. No, that's the green one.
The green one. What's the red? I have the red one too.
The red is It's Astounding.
I'm already knit a hat with the DK Madness Takes Its Toll. That's what it was. They're great semi-solid colors, which is another thing that I love about Nancy's yarn. And if you ever catch her at a show, a trunk show or an event, her booths really stand out because she's got this wall of these bright saturated semi-solids that match the fun variegated yarns. So you can really combine them together. It's so much fun shopping at her booth and trunk shows. And then also with the mini packs, like you saw her stacking them up, you can just start having all sorts of fun. And Kim says, OMG,
RHPS, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Jessica, you are blowing my mind with these. I'm sure she's talking about the minis, the Morphing Minis. Because yeah, I mean, the first time I saw it, I was the within one color made sense, but from one color to another, when I first saw you lining that up at a trunk show, I think for Pat, I was like, what is this? And magic. I need more yarn budget. And Lacey says that fade though.
Yeah, I am really excited. All of my samples up until recently have just featured like one pack of minis because 552 yards is a lot of yarn. There aren't a lot of options for, I mean, now we're getting into these 7 skein shawls and people are getting used to bigger and bigger shawls, but there weren't a lot of patterns for that much yardage when I started. So obviously I'm working on a sample now with your crochet along, which I'm very excited about. And I'm also, my other work in progress right now is the Queen of Hearts shawl by Karen Hooley.
Love her.
This is using 2 packs of minis. So it starts with, at the top, the Mystery of the Scarlet Plum, which goes from red to about here with the purple. And then at the bottom is Mystery of the Peacock Plum, which is fading from the purple down to turquoise. I have one more mini to add after this. And then I'm going to use a full skein of Mrs. Peacock as the border, which is a thing I didn't mention as well. I also sell full skeins of each of the standard clue colors as well as individual minis. So if you're doing a project that calls for like 600 yards, you can just get an extra mini, which is the next step of the gradient pack, rather than having to get a whole other pack, or you can do little mix and match like that. So I wanted it to be, you know, kind of like building blocks. I just want them to build on each other. You can do whatever you want with them. So
the really Lego version of yarn.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, Lacey says, the matching semi-solids are so important. I am naturally drawn to the wild and crazy variegated colorways, so having the semi-solids easy to grab is everything. Yes, and all in one booth. It makes the shopping experience so much fun. And Noelle, thanks for joining. Those gradients are everything. And Randy says, that is amazing. They really are stunning and amazing. And I really loved working with them. So what, you got an extra few wins? That fade is so worth it. And the other thing that's really nice is if you wanted to stripe a solid, like I did with my Hollow Web, I had stripes of solid knocks in between the fade. I didn't have to worry about like cutting too much. Let's see, we're all caught up on the chat. So we did skip right over, what kind of bases do you offer your colorways on?
All of my yarns are based on 100%, or not 100%. Let's try that again. Are all based on superwash merino. Some of them are 100% superwash merino. A lot of them have at least 20% of nylon. Did Did I grab one? I grabbed one. Oh, well, that project bag's gone now. I have a couple of bases that have the Stellina sparkle in them as well. And I carry everything from bulky weight to lace weight. So we have a bulky, a worsted, we have 2 DK weights, 1 sparkle, 1 non, a sport weight, three fingering weights. One sweet is what the minis are in. Then Dude is my standard fingering weight. And I also have Spectacular, which is the sparkle.
What's the difference between Dude and Sweet? Dude
and Sweet is texturally different. Dude is your 2-ply bumpity fingering weight. It's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 400 yards. It's a really nice bouncy sock yarn. And Sweet is more streamlined. It's a 4-ply, real smooth fingering weight, 463 yards per 100 grams. So it's a little bit thinner, a little bit smoother. And I chose the one with the extra yardage for the minis because as much yardage for the minis as possible, right?
Yes. And the colors do take a little differently on those 2 bases, right?
Yes. The Sweet is a little bit more blendy, which is why I really only carry it with the semi-solids. And Dude leans more variegated. It's really great for the tonals. It picks up all of those different shades and shows them off really well.
Nice. And I did interrupt you. So I think you were going down.
I was going down. I also have Excellent, which is my lace weight, which is currently only available dyed on demand, which that's a thing worth noting as well. All of my yarn is, while I do have a bunch in stock, and you can find it at schmutzerellaYarns.com.
Which is linked down below.
It's there, it's in stock, it's ready to ship. But I also offer dyed on demand because, you know, sometimes you just need 3 skeins of whatever, and I only have 1 in stock or whatever. I have always offered dyed to order as an option because I want you to be able to get whatever it is you want. I don't want you to be confined to whatever it is I feel like dyeing at the moment. I have all of the options available.
Nice. I love that. That is a great thing. And I frequently will place orders for dyed on demand. Let's see. Where are we at in the questions? Do you have yarn clubs?
I do. I definitely was going to update my yarn club page before today, and I forgot. So just take my word for it. I'll update it again later. My one yarn club is called Schmutzerella's Movie Night Yarn Club. And every month, it's a very no frills club. You get a skein of yarn and a stitch marker and a little card that says this is the name and what the inspiration is, but that's it. We make it real easy. The club colorway that just went out was inspired by the movie Avatar, and the colorway was Tree of Souls. And I would show you a skein of it, but I shipped all of it and I forgot to keep one for myself. And the September's theme is going to be Emperor's New Groove. And I am so excited about watching that again. And I already know I'm going to have a bunch of ideas for quotes for that movie. So we have that coming up in September. October is going to be Zombieland. November will be Coco. And December will be Gremlins. And I offer 1, 3, 6, and 12-month subscriptions. For anything less than 12 months, you can jump around in the year and pick which movies are of most interest to you. Yeah, I think that's it about the movie night.
Yeah, that's what I've done. I don't know if I've bought more than just the Beetlejuice because, you know, I'm always gravitating towards Halloween. And you did, I think that one last October,
yep,
or maybe
that was last October.
Yeah, I was like, oh, need this, love it. It's actually in my sample for my 2 Ways to Crochet It Right shawl. It's Beetlejuice and Turn This Stupid Fat Rat Yellow.
Yes.
Both of your yarns striped, and I love the way they turned out together. So yeah, I love that your yarn club is like that. So you can just do 1 month for the movie you're excited about, or sign up for longer in advance if you're in it for the long haul of Schmutzerella movie nights. And you do offer the movies pretty far out in advance of your inspiration. Yes. So you know what you're signing up for.
I do. Like I said, I need to update it. So not all 12 movies are up, but I do try to list a year in advance. So the people who are signing up for a year know what they're getting into, make sure that the year is really worth it for them. And then you can plan up to a year in advance. Like if Anchorman is your jam, then you could sign up today for, I think it's June of next year is when I'm planning on dyeing Anchorman.
And these colorways, they stay exclusive for a little while?
They're exclusive for 6 months. That said, I still have yet to dye Freelance Bioexorcist, and now it's been a year. And one of these days I will dye it, probably. But I have a tendency to dye the Yarn Club, and then I've done that, and I like to move on. And sometimes if I get an inspiration to expand on a collection, I really would love to do a Beetlejuice collection. It'll probably come back for that, but I make no promises.
Right. And you have Nightmare Before Christmas inspired colorways too that are right up my alley, and I've bought at least a pumpkin nose, but I eventually will get more of that collection too.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about Patreon. Do you have a Patreon, and how does that work?
I do. You can find me at patreon.com/Schmutzerella Yarns. I definitely should have looked that up before now.
You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I forgot to link that one down below too. But if you search Schmutzerella on Patreon, Yarns, you'll come up.
Yeah. And how that works is, you know, let's face it, I'm an indie dyer. This is my full-time job. And the past year plus has been not super consistent as far as income is concerned. And that's hard for artists when our income is solely based on what we create. And sometimes that takes a lot longer than others, or sometimes there's a world pandemic and yarn shops just aren't buying yarn as much as they used to. And so what Patreon does is people can sign up for a monthly contribution to support an artist. And there are tons of artists out there, not just me. And what it does is it provides me with a monthly income. You can contribute anything from, I think, $3 is the lowest they recommend a month, up to however high you would like to go. My top tier is $35 a month, which will also get you a mini skein per month and a stitch marker and my general and never-ending love and gratitude and thanks for your support. It helps me keep doing what I'm doing. It lets me keep creating, and it supports my cat and me.
Gomez.
And Gomez today, so I have a black cat. His name is Gomez. Today is his 4th birthday. We are very excited about this.
Happy birthday, Gomez.
I can't believe he's that old. But it keeps us in a more comfortable lifestyle, which really helps with the creation. I am so very thankful to all of my patrons.
I am a patron at the highest tier, so I get the mini skeins, and I wanted to show off. I've been a patron for 6 months now, and check these out. These are the minis for the last 6 months, and look, this was part of a fade that you finished, correct?
Yes.
And that started, did that start back when your Patreon started, or?
It started a couple of months into when my Patreon started. Like that last one is May. So it started June 2020. And it was a 6-month fade that we did. And the darker ones there that you have starting in June is the beginning of a 6-month fade.
Yes, but even though I started in the middle, you could still easily use those all in a project too. And I've got all my stitch markers in here too that come with the minis.
Yay.
Yeah. Awesome. So where can people buy your yarn?
You can find me at schmutzerellayarns.com. It's right there on the screen. The link is below. It's okay if you misspell it. If you Google something close to it, you will find me. And you can find me on Instagram at Schmutzerella as well. You can also find me at a couple of local to the greater Seattle area yarn stores. You can find me at Seattle Yarns, Stilly River Yarns, Acorn Street, Bizarre Girls. I'm hanging out in the Pacific Northwest.
Yes. And I know back before COVID, you would frequently do trunk shows at these locations as well, which if you ever get a chance to come to one of her trunk shows live, like I said, it's a really fun shopping opportunity, whether it's a trunk show or even an event, because we will eventually get into the story of how Lift Your Spirits was designed. But yeah, absolutely. If you ever can, when COVID stops and the events start. But I also wanted to mention some of those yarn shops that you are carried in have an online presence, and you will sometimes do exclusive yarns for them, right? Because I know I got Dumpster Fire from Stilly River Yarns.
Yep, that is their exclusive colorway. Let's see. That one, the other one, I'm not sure if there's any currently available, but Seattle Yarns has my colorway, Social Distancing Shark.
I love it. And both of those came out during the pandemic, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I love the Dumpster Fire. I knit a little romper for my daughter out of it, and it worked up wonderfully. And I still have half the skein left that I could totally make socks with some contrasting heel, toes, and cuffs. It looks like Knitwim says, oh, what a great cat name, Gomez. I know
he came to me named like that. I couldn't believe it. It's perfect for him.
And I know we don't have him in the view because I'm sure he's doing cat stuff, but he's an all black cat. So I think it's just perfect. M560 says, very inspiring colorways. I've been wondering about the name Cinderella Mozzarella inspired.
Kind of. It is a word that my grandpa created when I was a little girl. He used to tell me stories about the Schmutzerellas that live on the planet Zilch, and they were spaghetti farmers. And so he was always one of my biggest supporters and always wanted me to, follow my dreams and all of that. And so when it came to time to naming my company and I wanted something really unique, I knew the grandpa word was the way to go.
Oh, that is amazing. And how fun that they were spaghetti farmers and wet yarn looks like noodles.
Right.
So in a way, you're kind of a spaghetti farmer.
Oh my God, I kind of am. How is it that it's taken me this long to figure that out? Right.
I love that. Lacey, can I lure you to Florida, Nancy?
Yes, when I feel safe flying again, maybe.
Right. Or, and I wonder if there's I know that some yarn shops will do from far away stand-up trunk shows for a week where you ship a giant box of yarn and they have it on display for a certain period of time. Maybe that would be something really fun too.
Yeah.
And Lacey says, OMG, I need to see Dumpster Fire. I don't have my sample out here, unfortunately. How would you describe it, Nancy?
It looks like a dumpster fire. Here, our dumpsters are green, waste management green. So it's green with fiery orange and red and yellow highlights to it. And we mostly dyed it on the sparkle base so that it looked like embers.
That's what I bought it on Spectacular, the sparkle base, and it does. It's got the oranges and reds and that little bit of rusty and the greens. I love the way that it worked up. And what was great when Stilly River put it out, they had half a sock knit, I think, if not a whole sock, so you could really see what it was going to work up like too. Yeah, which was really nice. But you know what? I just remembered. Speaking of outside shows, you have traveled pretty far from Washington for events before.
I have.
Yeah.
I went to DFW Fiber Fest in Texas, and I am very much looking forward to going back whenever that show can happen again, which we're looking like probably not. I mean, it didn't happen this year. I haven't heard about it for next year, but when that show happens again, I will be there. That was one of my favorite shows I ever vented at. So you've gotten me as far as Texas. If you want to get me all the way to Florida or wherever you are in your corner of the world, I ship everywhere, so there's that. But talk to your favorite yarn shop about me. I'm happy to talk about doing trunk shows. I'm always open to more wholesale, etc. But
yeah, that's right. You do wholesale, which is big too, because I know not all indie dyers are set up to do wholesale orders. So yeah, that is super, super important. So do you sell any yarn shops to any yarn shops in Europe?
I do not. All of the yarn shops that I currently sell to are right here in my own backyard, but I do ship to Europe. So.
And Lacey, I try to push indie dyers to include crochet samples of their colorways. I love it when I go to buy yarn and I see it in crochet. Gives me all the feels.
Yeah, I was a crocheter for 13 years before I was a knitter, and sort of like Amanda, when I learned how to knit, I got mad at it and it went away for probably another 5 years. And then when I picked it up again and I got the hang of it, I was sort of all knit all the time. And within the past 4 or 5 years or so, I've really gotten back into it. And I'm really thankful to designers like Amanda, because more and more crochet designers are using hand-dyed yarn in their patterns. And there are more patterns out there for fingering weight yarns, which gives the crochet more flow and a more delicate look and all of that. And, you know, since I finished my Star Blanket by Stephen West, or that was my early pandemic project, I finished that in June. I haven't really knit much since then. All of my projects really have been crochet for about the past year. And I've really, really been loving it. I'm falling in love with crochet all over again. So I always try to have the crochet samples, because I remember what it was like to be a crocheter and want to work with these fun yarns, and I remember what it was like going into a yarn shop or a show or something and not seeing what I did anywhere. So I like to include both.
Yes, definitely underrepresented crochet in the local yarn shop stores, but I do think that stores are making an effort to put up more crochet samples, and designers like myself are definitely making an effort to incorporate those finer and hand-dyed yarns into the work. Fingering weight is slow, period. Like, you guys are going to see that with this shawl. That's why it's over 6 weeks. It's slow, but it is faster with crochet.
Yes, it is.
Lacey says, did it pull up? We don't have a yarn shop. I need to go ahead and just open a local yarn store. Florida is hurting. I did experience that down in Georgia. The seasons down there are quite different. It's warmer up for a majority of the year, making it a little harder for yarn shops to be successful, because we want to wear our handmaids or sell our handmaids to people that are going to wear them. And if you're somewhere warm, there's just not as much of a market for it, unfortunately. But thank goodness for the internet, because that has opened up finding your local yarn store online.
Yes.
Unapologetically Mocha Crochet and Crafts. I still can't bring myself to use fingering weight yarn, but I can get some mean drape from DK.
Heck yeah. I am all about DK.
DK is great. It is like your comfort weight when it comes to speed, but still getting some drape. So yeah, I think fingering weight is my favorite, and DK weight would be like a second favorite for that reason, when I need some relief. My closest LYS is an hour away. Oh, I'm so sorry, Kim. I used to be just like that in Georgia, but here in the Pacific Northwest, Nancy, do you know how many local yarn stores we have? I know it's up there.
I don't know how many we have. I do know we just had our local yarn store tour, which is our shop hop yarn crawl thing. And there were 20 participating shops, and that not all of the yarn shops locally participated in that. So we've got to have,
and that's all kind of within an hour radius, hour drive radius for the most part, 22 plus shops, local yarn stores.
Yes.
Yeah, we're very fortunate up here. Lacey is asking, have you ever thought of incorporating any plant fiber bases?
I have thought about it and decided that is not for me. The way that the way that plant fibers take dye is completely different than the way that wool and protein-based fibers take dye. And it is a lot more labor intensive. And I absolutely salute any indie dyer that dyes, you know, specifically cotton, but other plant-based fibers. And I love working with them, but not dyeing them. And that's, I'm going to stick to the wool for now. I do, however, recommend Busy Peach, which I believe she is out of Georgia, who does beautiful things with cotton yarn.
Is that Busy, B-U-S-Y, like you would
I think
expect it to be?
I think it's B-Z-Y or B-U-Z-Y.
Okay. Busy Peach.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Well, let's talk crochet along.
Okay, let's do it.
We're slowly running out of time. Check out my pants first. Look at this. I'm ready.
Oh, those are amazing.
I got ghost pants. I got ghost shirt. I got ghost nails. I'm all ready for the Lift Your Spirits crochet along. So this pattern has been like 3 years in the making. So 3 years ago, I went to Fiber Fusion in Monroe, Washington, which is a fiber festival. And so far, it seems like they may be hosting it this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right now they are.
It is happening.
I'm signed up to vend, so hopefully that works. October 16th and 17th.
Perfect. And I saw that Bead Biz is also there, and they were there 3 years ago as well. So that is how this shawl came to be. So I went to Fiber Fusion, checked out all the booths. When I saw Bead Biz's booth, it was gorgeous. It's set up with those wire racks and all the beads coming out, and they have these bright lights shining down on the beads, and you can't help but see them from across the barn, because this is in mostly barns, right? Yes. It's at the fairgrounds in the barns. It's great. They have live animals there too that you can see and potentially pet depending on how friendly they are and if the owners say it's okay. But I know they had sheep and alpaca and llama and I think some mohair, the goats and the Angora goats. It was a great time. They were walking one of the alpaca around, I think.
A llama, the emotional support llama. Yes.
Yes. It's a great time if you're local and can go. So I went over to the Bead Biz booth. I was chatting it up with the person running the booth. I don't remember their name, unfortunately. And I found the glow-in-the-dark beads. And I was like, what is this? And so I bought a pack. And then later, when I was making my rounds, I stopped by Nancy's booth and was like, Nancy, these beads glow in the dark. Look at this. And she found unicorn blood and was like, look at this. Just like that. And she graciously gifted me that hank of yarn and said, this needs to happen. No pressure, no worries. It's yours. And I was like, what? Yes, I'm going to design something awesome. And then didn't. Oh, 3 years later, right? But, you know, I had a lot going on in my personal life at the time, which is amazing that Nancy is very understanding about that. If you follow her social media, you'll see that she brings a lot of awareness to mental health and just overall, like, very understanding of things like that. So, she gave me the space that I needed to get back into my crafting mojo. And I went through several swatches and sketches, which I'll share when the full pattern's revealed. I'll share some of the design process with you because it kind of got nuts. Nancy's been here for the ride and I did some weird stuff. But yeah, it was so great to be able to have the time to do that. And as I went along, I had the one hank. And then when I got my initial concept after swatching several times and I was ready to make it, I think I ordered 2 more.
1 more.
I only ordered 1 the first time. So I had 1, I ordered 1. Then I realized I needed more. And is that when I ordered 2 more?
That was when you ordered 2 more.
And then I was like, oh no, I need another one. And then I ordered Gomez. He just blends into the background.
Yes, he does.
Let me show you the internet my butt first.
Well, yes, he has to introduce himself, right?
Oh my
goodness. So you had ordered 2 more. Now
yes,
I'm derailing you with
more.
that.
Yeah. And then I realized, oh no, I need another one. And so it did end up being 5 hanks total, but like it was spread out and it was silly. And, you know, I'm glad that I've got it all together because I did end up getting different dye lots and I didn't stripe. So in my final sample, you'll see there is a little bit of a contrast where I changed dye lots and then back again because of my separate orders. So if you ordered all of your hanks in once, you're good to go. And you can, for the most part, use them in the whatever order you want. But if you make separate orders, if you just stripe those 2 yarns, they'll blend together much more nicely. It's what I should have done, but I did not expect for this project to get quite that large. So yeah, that is the beginning story of how Lift Your Spirits came to be. I always knew that I wanted to play with the glow-in-the-dark beads. I can't say too much about what my inspiration originally was because then you'll realize that's what it is not if I start giving out hints. So we'll save that for later. So let's go ahead and talk about the giveaway real quick. So I'm going to be giving away some of Schmutzerella Yarns yarn. So there will be one winner who will win either a hank or a Morphing Mini pack. So you can choose whether you want 1 hank of yarn, whatever base you want, or the Morphing Mini pack. So in order to enter the giveaway, and I've got this written down so I don't mess it up, so you have to go to her website, schmutzerellayarns.com, and browse through her selection of yarn and find which yarn you'd most love to win. Which one do you want your prize to be? Leave that details, including the base and the colorway, or if it's the Morphing Minis, mention that and the colorway. Leave that in the comments on this video. And then I have, Nancy, did you prepare a question?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to pick the yarn you want to win and then put that in a comment with the answer to Nancy's question. So what is your question, Nancy?
What is your favorite Halloween movie?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. So the yarn that you want to win, and then your favorite Halloween movie, leave that in a comment below. And then I'm going to pick a winner and announce it live on next Saturday's live stream. But then I'm also going to be giving away. So Nancy is going to ship the yarn to you. So these giveaways are separate because they're with me. Nancy sent me these amazing nails. So these, if it will focus, these ghost nail wraps are from Lily and Fox, and I absolutely adore them. She sent me 1 for me and then 2 to give away. So I'm going to be giving away a package of nail wraps with one of the MCAL stickers. And so for that, and you can put your entry in the same comment with the yarn and the answer to the questions, just say ghosties. Ghosties. So I will pull 2 winners for that as well. And I did finally get the stickers up on my website. So if you purchase any yarn with Nancy, you get an MCAL sticker. I think I have enough with her that she shouldn't run out of stickers, but then I also have extras. So I put those up on my website and I've got that link down below too. They're $2.50, which includes shipping. So they're fun little vinyl clear stickers. I put one on my water bottle. I love them so much. It's so cute. So yeah, that was everything with the giveaway. Do you want to share your progress on the project? So this is spoiler alert. If you haven't seen any of the shawl yet and you don't want to be spoiled, let's see it.
Okay.
Well, I can show mine while you work with Gomez there.
he's up. It's okay.
So oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I got it. This is through round 11.
Oh, and that is starting with your birthday suit.
That is birthday suit on Sweet.
And now explain your markers.
They aren't going to show up particularly well, but I have, okay, are you going to jump? Jump. Thank you. I have, where is it? There. I have yarn running through each of the pattern repeats of a contrasting color. So I can see where the repeat break is to compare, there we go, to compare to the charts.
That is genius. I love that. That way you don't have to move your stitch marker and you can easily pull it out as you're weaving it in and out. And it does always stack. Those increases are always stacked right next to each other. So that makes it super easy to follow, even easier, less counting. I love that. So I have made it through round 14 because I did decide to order beads after all. So around 15 is where they start. So this is as far as I can get. And I'm going to be making the small sample. And this is your draft of Living Death, which you had to help me with because I don't know. Do I have the label? Oh yeah, it's right here. I would have totally mispronounced that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would have said Drought of Living Death. And Nancy's like, real quick heads up, it's draft.
Yep.
It's Draft of Living Death.
It's
which
British.
Is a Harry Potter potion.
Yes.
Yes. And so for this crochet along, I think this is about as variegated as you could get away with. I wouldn't recommend going any more variegated than this. The pattern should show up very well still in this colorway. I'm loving the way that it's working up. I love this color. It is so hard to photograph because it in person gives off like a lavender hue, but in these lights that I have, they're a little bluer. So the way they're showing up on camera here is more blue.
Yeah. It's one of those impossible colors. It's a very gray, purpley light color.
Right. And even, I photographed it sometimes and it looks gray. So it is nice. And also gives it a little ethereal feel that you can't quite capture what the color is, but it is in the spooky range. So let's catch up on chat here. Lacey said, because Kim asked her, where are you at? She said she's in Jacksonville, Northeast Florida. And then is Gomez a colorway?
There is a Gomez colorway. It is not currently on my website, but it is black with pops of gold. As y'all saw, he has those bright gold eyes.
Oh, I love it so much.
I need to dye more of that.
Yeah, especially when he gets on screen with you with your black backdrop and your black shirt, which I love, by the way. Is it Halloween yet? Oh, I love that the kitty's almost crying because that's how I feel too. I'm just going to celebrate anyways.
Yes.
Lacey. Oh, I will happily browse the site again. Look how pretty Gomez is. I am in love with those nail wraps. We'll definitely add ghosties to your comment and hopefully you win. And Knitwim. I love that colorway. You must be talking about this one. I do. I love it. I wanted to go with something darker for my second sample since the original is in the unicorn blood, which this is the sample that I was making in the tutorial video. So I just love this. The colorway is perfect for this design. This colorway and the beads, couldn't get any more perfect. Only took 3 years to marinate and happen.
And I did just restock both of those colorways on my website.
Oh, perfect. So yeah, if anyone's jumping late in the game and want to use those colorways, yay. Lacey, oh, I bet that is my favorite. The nail wraps. And M560, the whole month of October is Halloween, right? I mean, that's what I count.
I count all year. Right.
Well, I mean, does it ever really stop? The countdown begins even the day after.
Only 365 days.
Right.
Till next Halloween. Yes.
I realized when I was editing my kind of like details video for this crochet along, I was like, yeah, and it'll be done. So you can wear it the last 2 weeks of Halloween. And I'm like, October, like Halloween is not a month, it's a day. But for me, it is the month. The last 2 weeks of Halloween. Kim says September is Halloween Eve around here. Yeah, I mean, when I was growing up, we would have decorations up on September 1st, and we lived in a neighborhood that had very strict homeowner association rules, and they very much did not like it. But my mom would just retort back like, people put their Christmas decorations up after Thanksgiving, which is more than a month in advance. So that's not fair. And Lacey says, Gomez. I bet Gomez is my fave. Oh, your favorite colorway. And that one is on your website, right, Nancy?
It is not, But
Oh.
if anybody out there desperately needs a skein of Gomez, you can put that in as one of the colorways you want to enter, and you just have to trust me that it's awesome.
Do you have any pictures on your Instagram?
Somewhere a very long time ago, it would have been, if you feel like scrolling that far back, it would have been November 2018, I think, either 2018 or 2019. I think it was 2018.
Which is like a month after I received the unicorn blood yarn.
We're going old school here.
Right? Awesome. Well, that is everything that I had for the live today. Nancy, thank you so much for joining me. I was so glad to use your yarn. Thank you for gifting me that hank of yarn 3 years ago that spawned this whole event. I'm so grateful for that. And yeah, that is, do you have any final closing words you'd like to share?
This is the part where I'm supposed to come up with something clever, right?
No.
No, just thank you for hosting me. I'm so glad I could be a part of it. I am so glad to, after all of this time, to finally start on my shawl. It's going to be so good. I'm so excited.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us live today. Don't forget to enter the giveaway in the comments below. And I will catch you next Saturday for our week 2 Lift Your Spirits Mystery Crochet Along live stream. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Happy crafting. Bye.